Today, we are going to go over the system bar and basic poly modeling. We will begin by going to Edit and then opening Preferences. Here, you will see the Preferences settings. This panel contains many of the application's default settings and options. You can freely change these settings at any time, and you can also reset them back to their default values. One thing I would like to mention is UI scale. This allows you to scale the application UI so it better fits your monitor size and screen resolution. Next is the theme setting. We provide 4 basic themes. These mainly change the colors of the UI frame. For example, let's select amber black. Now, let's create a cube and move it this way. If we go back to preferences, you can see that amber black shades the wireframe like this. Some of you who are used to Blender may feel more comfortable with this type of color scheme. For this video, we will stay with this color theme. That is enough for the system bar. The rest is mostly industry standard, so feel free to explore the settings on your own. Now, we will look at basic poly modeling. The first tool is Extrude. Basically, we can select a face and click Extrude. We can also use the shortcut key T and we will get this type of control. We also have a keep together option. When this is disabled, the selected extruded faces are not kept together. You can freely toggle this option depending on the result you want. When we end the mode or exit the mode by deselecting or selecting a normal layer, face or object, the action panel exits as well. This is standard behavior for every poly modeling action. It is a destructive process. So we select the edges and then press Y, which is the shortcut for bevel. We could also hold Ctrl and right click. When you right click normally, the radial menu shows the control modes, but if you hold Ctrl and hold the right mouse button, it gives you the poly modeling options. These are the same options shown here, so we can select bevel this way as well. When you enable bevel, you have options for WS segments and mount. There's also curvature. Let's zoom in a bit. You can also use the on-screen handles. This handle controls the segments, or you can adjust them directly from the panel. You can also enter an exact amount here. For example, we can enter 10, which is outside the slider range. We allow this, but we do not set the slider range to include extreme values because they are not commonly used. We can also control the curvature, but the default value of 1 should usually be good enough. Next, let's go into split mode, which is the third action. For split, we need to go into edge mode and select an edge. Then we can click split or hold Ctrl right click and choose doubly split from the radial menu. Once you're in split mode, you will see that there is only one parameter. You can use this handle to set the split position. Let's press F to focus on the object. You can see that this creates a loop cut split. This may be a good time to show how to enter UV mode. We can switch to a dual viewport here. The UV is a little messed up because we beveled the object earlier, so let's clean this up and start with a brand new cube. There we go. Now we do a split, and you can see that the UV remains persistent after the split. Next, let's do bridge. The shortcut for switching the viewport is also space. It returns to the last viewport, which is very useful. Here is a cube. We will duplicate it by pressing Ctrl+D. You can see that it has been duplicated. We will hold X to snap to the grid. This is absolute grid snapping. When you hold X, it temporarily enables grid snapping. You can change the grid snapping value here. You will notice that the grid values are not linear. If you tap the grid button, it enables grid snapping like this. If you double tap it, it switches to relative grid snapping. You can also control it from here. Instead of tapping or double tapping, you can simply hold the key to temporarily enable the last grid setting. we do not need relative snapping here, so we will use absolute snapping. We will hold X, then move the duplicate by 2 units, and then up by 2 units. Now I will select both objects and combine them. The shortcut is C. Now they are combined into a single object. I will select these two faces and bridge them. This is face-to-face bridging. You can use this handle to introduce subdivisions. When you use this, smoothing is enabled automatically. You can also disable smoothing if you want, but usually a smooth curvature between bridges is what most people want. I will set this to 6. There we go. We can also control the curvature. The default is 1. We may also choose to flip the face. Sometimes you need this option and sometimes you do not, but it is available when needed. That is face-to-face bridging. Now I'm going to remove this face and then remove the rest of the bridge. Now we have 2 cubes. Technically, it is one object containing 2 cubes. Now we can bridge edges in the same way as face-to-face bridging. Next, we can use the knife action. Knife is straightforward, you can simply cut wherever you want. Now the mesh is cut, so you can select a face and delete it. That is how knife works.